You think the 1970s were all about fondue and TV dinners? Think again. Families stretched every dollar with ingenious meals that kept bellies full and budgets intact during inflation and recession. Let's dig into 60 cheap 1970s meals that have completely disappeared. Buttered grits, a Southern staple, originated in colonial America. This simple yet beloved dish is usually served as a side or base for other toppings. Made from ground corn, grits are cooked with water or milk until creamy. Then butter is added for richness. The dish is synonymous with Southern cuisine, particularly in Charleston, South Carolina, known for its love of grits. Grits are remembered for their comforting texture and versatility, which made them a popular breakfast dish in the 1970s. Traditional or unusual toppings like cheese, shrimp, or gravy enhance the dish. The dish's cultural significance lies in its association with Southern hospitality and hearty breakfasts. In some Southern states, grits are even considered a delicacy and are often served at special occasions and celebrations. Cranberry walnut coffee cake was the breakfast centerpiece that looked impressive but came together with surprising ease. Grandmothers made a tender cake batter with sour cream for moisture, then folded in fresh cranberries and chopped walnuts. The batter was poured into pans and topped with a cinnamon streusel mixture. The cake emerged from the oven golden and fragrant, with tart cranberries creating pockets of brightness. A simple powdered sugar glaze was drizzled over the top once cool. This cake was perfect for Thanksgiving morning because it could be baked the day before and still taste fresh. Families would slice thick pieces to enjoy with coffee while the turkey started roasting. The combination of tart cranberries and nutty walnuts felt seasonal. Children picked out the walnuts but loved the cake itself. Adults appreciated having something substantial with their coffee. The cake disappeared quickly, with people returning for second slices throughout the morning. Chipped beef on toast, affectionately known as SOS, is a dish rooted in military history, featuring dried beef in a creamy sauce over toast. Simple and cost-effective, it became a staple in U.S. military mess halls for its quick assembly and satisfying nature. This dish's straightforward preparation, combining a roux-based sauce with rehydrated beef slices, made it a popular choice in civilian kitchens, especially among families with military backgrounds. Variations included substituting dried beef with ground beef or sausage, and biscuits instead of toast, catering to different tastes. The dish was valued for its hearty quality and versatility, fitting well into the culinary routines of many American households due to its ease of preparation and comforting nature. Now, meat bone broth soup is a slow-simmered dish that most people think is deeply nourishing. When you walk into a kitchen that has this cooking, you start to immediately think that you're in the factory where pain relief medication is made. I mean, it doesn't smell like anything good. This is definitely one of those dishes where you have to trust the process, though, because you're in for a wild transformation. The magic of this recipe starts with the bones. Beef, pork, or chicken, ideally with some scraps of meat still left on there, simmered for hours. If you want to get truly authentic and traditional, then you should simmer them for a few days. Yes, a few days. People actually did that with continuous fires. They also added a lot of onions, garlic, herbs, root vegetables, and whatever else they could find. The idea was that as it would cook, the marrow, collagen, and flavor would all dissolve and melt into the broth, making this super silky texture that just immediately feels amazing on the tongue. It feels a lot more like food than it feels like a broth, soup, or a drink, by the way. As far as the final flavor goes, it's deeply meaty, very subtly sweet, and it has a lot of herbaceous notes depending on the kinds of seasoning you use. Despite what you might think, the minerality from the bones isn't actually too strong. That's what all that intensive simmering is for. Bone broth is actually making a bit of a comeback today, but the rustic version we're discussing here is something that's just stuck to the pages of cookbooks now instead of the corners of our mind. Maple bars are a type of donut that was first created in the mid-20th century. This sweet treat is typically enjoyed as a breakfast item or snack, especially in the Pacific Northwest, where it has become particularly popular. Maple bars are made from a light and airy dough that's shaped into a rectangular bar, then fried and topped with a sweet maple-flavored icing. The maple bar is believed to have originated in Portland, Oregon in the 1920s, with local donut shops offering this unique variation of the classic donut. The type of dough used for maple bars is similar to that of traditional donuts, ensuring a soft and tender texture. In 2013, the mayor of Portland declared June 7th as National Donut Day to celebrate the city's rich donut culture, including the iconic maple bar. Maple pecan granola was the make-ahead breakfast that filled homes with the smell of toasted nuts and warm spices. Grandmothers mixed rolled oats with chopped pecans, pumpkin seeds, and coconut flakes, then tossed everything with maple syrup, melted butter, cinnamon, and salt. The mixture was spread on baking sheets and baked slowly until golden. The granola could be stored in jars for weeks, making it perfect when oven space was precious. Families would pour it into bowls with cold milk or layer it with yogurt. The maple flavor connected breakfast to other holiday dishes. Children loved it because it tasted like dessert. Adults appreciated having something quick to eat while managing Thanksgiving prep. The granola was often made as gifts too. This breakfast proved that homemade was always better than store-bought, with flavors that captured the essence of Thanksgiving morning. Ever wonder why corned beef hash became such a breakfast staple, especially during the bustling post-war era? It combined diced corned beef, potatoes, and spices, all canned for convenience. Typically served with eggs or toast, this meal option was a quick, hearty solution for families on the go. Promoted by brands like Hormel and Libby's, its marketing highlighted the ease of preparation and robust flavor, appealing to those with limited time for cooking. These advertising efforts often portrayed corned beef hash as the hero of the busy morning, saving time without sacrificing taste. The product maximized American values of efficiency and practicality, fitting perfectly into the fast-paced lifestyle of its consumers. It continued to be recognized for its convenience and satisfying taste. A warm, unassuming bowl of grainy goodness, cracked wheat cereal evokes the flavor of chili farm mornings. A thick, slightly chewy cereal with a nutty, toasted flavor is created by cooking coarsely ground wheat kernels, also known as bulgur, or wheat farina, in water or milk. It has a rustic tang that lets you know this was once a whole grain that was plucked from the ground, and it's heartier than cream of wheat and less sweet than muesli. Simple toppings like a pat of butter, a tablespoon of brown sugar or molasses, and perhaps a dash of milk turn it from bland to comfortable without taking away from its healthy qualities. Besides being something that's entirely perfect for getting your gains in a healthy way, it's a dish that really just takes you for a spin when you eat it regularly. Suddenly your skin's doing better, you're putting on some muscle, you've probably never felt this fresh in a long while. It's a dish that's abundant with goodness, and that's a big part of why people would cling onto it as a reliable breakfast. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is really just make a bowl of cracked wheat cereal. Moving on to something less fun, egg and potato hash. Egg and potato hash was the ultimate Depression-era breakfast because it was cheap, filling, and easy to throw together. Potatoes, one of the most budget-friendly foods around, were diced and fried until crispy, then mixed with scrambled eggs. If you were lucky, you might throw in a little onion or whatever leftovers were kicking around. Bits of ham, maybe even a stray vegetable. The beauty of this dish was that you could stretch it as far as you needed. Not enough eggs? No problem, just add more potatoes. The fried potatoes added that crispy texture, while the eggs brought in some much-needed protein to keep you going through the day. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was warm and hearty, plus it kept everyone fed and happy. Egg and potato hash was the kind of meal that stuck to your ribs and could easily turn a couple of basic items into a satisfying breakfast that made you feel like you weren't missing out, even during tough times. Blueberry buckle is a delightful breakfast pastry that originated in the early 20th century. The term buckle originated in the 19th century to describe fruit-studded cakes that buckled under the weight of their toppings during baking. This dish, typically enjoyed as a breakfast or brunch item, combines a moist cake base with fresh blueberries and a crumbly streusel topping. The ingredients for blueberry buckle include flour, sugar, butter, eggs, and fresh blueberries, creating a sweet and satisfying treat. Blueberry buckle became popular when it was embraced as a traditional breakfast pastry in the northeastern United States, where blueberries are plentiful. In Maine, blueberry buckle is celebrated with an annual festival featuring baking competitions, tastings, and live music, highlighting the state's rich blueberry heritage. Turkey sausage and sage breakfast patties were the lighter alternative to pork sausage, bringing Thanksgiving flavors to the morning table. Grandmothers mixed ground turkey with fresh sage, thyme, black pepper, and sometimes maple syrup, forming the mixture into small patties. The patties were pan-fried in butter until golden brown, filling kitchens with the herbal aroma of sage. These tasted like Thanksgiving dressing in breakfast form, with sage providing that distinctive holiday flavor. Families appreciated the turkey option because it felt healthier while still being satisfying. The patties could be made ahead and reheated on Thanksgiving morning. They paired perfectly with eggs and toast. Adults who were health-conscious loved having a leaner protein option. Children often preferred these to regular sausage because the flavors were familiar. The sage and turkey combination became so associated with the holiday that eating them any other time felt wrong. Heard about space food sticks? Launched in the early 70s, these snacks promised a taste of astronaut life right on your snack plate. Introduced in the early 1970s, they were marketed as a nutritious option that provided sustained energy, with flavors like peanut butter and chocolate. The novelty of their space-age concept, combined with practical packaging that made them easy to consume on the go, initially drew considerable attention. The connection to NASA and the allure of consuming astronaut food added to their appeal, particularly among children and young adults intrigued by space travel. The innovative approach of space food sticks to combining nutrition with the excitement of space exploration helped them capture a unique niche in the snack market. Mutton sausages are these super earthy, super robust, and unapologetically meaty dishes that offer an entire world of flavor for those willing to traverse its savory depths. They're grounded until they are extremely coarse, and the chew is something that lets you know you're eating something with a lot of flavor in it. Speaking of flavor, this is something that strikes a lot of unique notes. It's grassy, a bit gamey, and extremely savory, but it's seasoned in a very different way. You have blends of parsley, garlic, pepper jack, allspice, even nutmeg in there. People would also make really traditional blends with things like rosemary, black pepper, garlic, and a bit of vinegar. When you would cook these, the fat would slowly render out, and this would baste the meat internally, making it an incredible flavor festival for meat lovers. Moving away from the sweets, sadly, and moving towards the greens. And by greens, I literally mean grass green. When times were hard, people needed to find resourceful ways to maintain a somewhat healthy diet. And that's what they did. Forget your local Trader Joe or Whole Foods and take a peek outside of your house or apartment building. What do you see? Just grass and weeds, right? Wrong! Those aren't just grass and weeds. That is your breakfast right there. During the Great Depression, people took locally sourced to a whole new level. Those pesky weeds you hate so much? That was the breakfast of our ancestors. Dandelion greens, though a bit bitter as far as I've heard, were packed with vitamins and minerals, and most important of all, they were free. People would pluck them straight from their yards, or a neighbor's yard if they weren't looking, and sauté them in a bit of bacon grease or whatever fat was available. The bitterness of the greens was tamed by scrambling them together with eggs, which added much-needed protein to the mix. I know some of you are already typing those angry comments like, they were so poor that they had to eat grass, but they somehow had eggs? And to that, I have to say, no. They most likely didn't have money for eggs, but a lot of people had their own chickens or knew somebody who did. And in tough times, people wanted to help each other as much as they could. There was something back then that is clearly lacking today, and that's a sense of community. But that's a topic for a different video. Pancake on a stick, a fun and convenient breakfast treat, was first created in the early 21st century. This dish combines the classic flavors of pancakes and sausage into an easy-to-eat form, typically enjoyed as a quick breakfast or snack. The dish consists of a sausage link coated in pancake batter and then fried until golden. Pancake on a stick became popular when it was introduced as a convenient food option by companies like Jimmy Dean. Unusual variations, such as using different types of sausage or adding cheese, have added to the appeal of this dish. In 2017, pancake on a stick was featured on the menu of select fast food chains, further popularizing this innovative breakfast option. The dish has since become a favorite at state fairs and festivals across the United States. Cornmeal Johnny cakes with honey butter were the rustic breakfast that connected Thanksgiving morning to America's earliest cooking traditions. Grandmothers mixed stone-ground cornmeal with boiling water, salt, and sugar, creating a thick batter that was spooned onto hot griddles greased with bacon fat. The cakes cooked until golden brown and crispy at the edges. These weren't fluffy like modern pancakes, but dense and satisfying. The honey butter was whipped by hand, combining softened butter with honey. Families served these on Thanksgiving morning as a nod to Native American foodways and the first Thanksgiving story. The cakes were filling and economical, using cornmeal that was cheaper than wheat flour. Adults appreciated their heartiness. The simplicity felt appropriate for Thanksgiving, reminding everyone that gratitude started with basic sustenance. Today's instant pancake mixes can't replicate the authentic corn flavor. Introduced in 1963, Sunny Delight positioned itself as a healthier alternative to sodas by offering a vitamin-enriched, citrus-flavored beverage that quickly captured the market's attention. Its bright color and sweet taste made it a hit among children, while its marketing campaigns emphasized a fun and active lifestyle, integrating Sunny D into scenes of youthful energy and outdoor activities. Despite its success, the brand encountered criticism for its high sugar content and low percentage of real juice, prompting several reformulations to increase authenticity and align with healthier consumer preferences. These changes allowed Sunny D to update its image and product offerings to better meet the expectations of modern consumers looking for healthier drink options. Salted herring with potatoes is a dish that is built entirely on contrast. The briny meets the bland, and strong undertones meet soft aftertastes. The herring itself is something that's preserved in brine, right? So it's deeply flavored. It's firm when it comes to the flesh, it's slightly oily, and that tang isn't for everyone. But an honest-to-God seafood lover is going to enjoy the life out of it. The dish itself is something that's most commonly served cold, slightly warmed, or just with a side of elegant mashed potatoes. As elegant as they can be when they're made by a frustrated mom who just wants to get the table set up, really. A bit of chopped onion, sour cream, and dill, and you'll be remembering your mom's cooking soon enough. You know, salted herring with potatoes has always been something that's deeply considered a working-class regular, especially in the American Midwest and Northeast. It was so common to see this in coastal communities where fresh fish were always abundant. Preservation was something even kids could tell you about. Salted herring let families eat protein year-round, and potatoes were cheap and easy to grow, and they could be made into 1,000 different things. One of the most popular breakfasts of the time was Depression Donuts. Forget your regular Krispy Kreme order and start writing this down. Depression Donuts were all about survival since people back then weren't really rolling in dough, pun intended. But with minimal ingredients like flour, water, baking powder, and maybe a spoonful of sugar, these donuts became like a gift sent from above. Since eggs, butter, and milk were often scarce or expensive, people improvised with what they had. For the preparation, you'd mix up the dough and make it into little rings or balls depending on your preference, and fry in oil until golden brown. The results were immaculate. But if you've never fired donuts, don't expect this to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You have to be careful because that oil will fool you. You think you're the one in charge, setting the stove temperatures and being all fancy. But once that oil is hot, there's no telling if you are frying or burning those donuts. So be careful, because donuts are no joke. Toaster strudel, a sweet and convenient breakfast treat, first appeared in the early 1980s. This quick delight consists of flaky pastry filled with fruit or cream, toasted and topped with sweet vanilla glaze. Varieties like chocolate, cinnamon, and seasonal fruit keep it exciting. The type of icing traditionally used for toaster strudel is a sweet vanilla glaze, which adds a touch of indulgence to the crispy pastry. The treat became popular when it was embraced as an easy breakfast option by the Pillsbury Company. The brand's iconic Little Chef character helped promote toaster strudel as a fun and kid-friendly breakfast option. Toaster strudel was inspired by traditional Austrian pastries like Apfelstrudel, which were popularized in the United States by European immigrants in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Toaster strudel influenced breakfast trends, offering a quick and delicious option for busy mornings. Bacon-wrapped maple sausages were the sweet and savory breakfast that disappeared from platters before anything else hit the table. Grandmothers took breakfast sausage links and wrapped each one in a half strip of bacon, securing it with toothpicks. The sausages were brushed generously with pure maple syrup. As they cooked, the bacon rendered its fat while crisping up, and the maple syrup created a sticky coating. The result was intensely flavorful, combining smoky bacon, seasoned sausage, and sweet maple in every bite. These were finger food breakfast, meant to be grabbed with napkins. Children loved the sweetness and the novelty. The preparation filled homes with the irresistible smell of bacon and maple that woke everyone naturally. Grandmothers often made extra because these would vanish fast. This breakfast represented indulgence, proof that Thanksgiving morning deserved special treatment. Introduced in 1964 by Carnation, this wasn't just your average breakfast, it was breakfast on the go. Available in tasty flavors like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, chocolate being the preferred choice, it promised the nutrition of a complete meal. The drink became a morning staple due to its convenience and nutritional content, highlighted in campaigns that emphasized its health benefits. Over the years, as consumer tastes evolved, Carnation adapted its formula to include lower sugar and higher protein versions, meeting the newer nutritional expectations without compromising on the quick, delicious start that families had come to rely on. The liver and onions breakfast fry is a strong, unapologetic dish that comes at you with iron, fat, and attitude, which is what the morning needs. Liver slices, practically always beef or pork, are lightly floured and pan-fried, just shy of crunchy on the outside. Tender on the inside, it's all liver, undeniably. Rich, metallic, slightly sweet, extremely savory. Soft onions, caramelized along with or sautéed separately in the same skillet, add a sweetness that balances all that intensity. Often deep-fried in bacon grease or lard, the whole plate is smoky and salty, the depth of flavor more medicinal than indulgent. Some versions add eggs or grits on the side, but the liver and onions are the point. Protein-forward, greasy. It's something that's undeniably as rustic as it is protein-filled. If you like spending your Saturday morning riding the meat express to flavor heaven, then this is definitely a dish for you. Historically, though, this was a meal that people ate when they really needed fuel for all the digging, shoveling, and hauling of the day. Liver was something you could get for a dime a dozen from local butcher shops, and everybody wanted to take advantage of that fact. Fried oatmeal patties might not sound so glamorous, but when you were trying to make the most out of the little you had, they were a treat. This Depression-era breakfast was a clever way to use up leftover oatmeal, which was already a cheap and filling staple. Instead of just reheating plain old porridge, people would mix the cold oatmeal with a little flour or cornmeal, form it into patties, and fry it up in a pan. I don't know how I didn't think of this. It's genius. The amount of leftover oatmeal I could have saved, please don't call the Eco Patrol on me. I never know how much is too much. The result of this creative endeavor was crispy on the outside and soft on the inside patties. They could be eaten plain or topped with a little butter or syrup if you had it. And like most of these dishes, they were versatile. They could be savory or sweet, depending on your cravings and your abilities at the given moment. Fried oatmeal patties were a simple but satisfying way to stretch leftovers into another meal. And let's be honest, anything fried tends to taste better. Do I need to reference again the Kentucky Fried Chicken? I don't think so. Fried oatmeal patties were a great way to turn mushy old oatmeal into something you'll look forward to eating. Waffles with chicken is a classic Southern dish that beautifully combines savory and sweet flavors, first appearing in the 1930s. This dish pairs crispy fried chicken with fluffy waffles. The ingredients include chicken, flour, eggs, and buttermilk for the waffles, while the chicken is coated in seasoned flour before frying to golden perfection. The waffle batter is cooked in a waffle iron, resulting in a tender texture. Maple syrup is usually paired with this dish, enhancing the flavor combo. Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles helped popularize it, introducing this delicacy to a wider audience and solidifying its place in American food history. This iconic restaurant chain was established in Los Angeles in 1975 and quickly became famous for this unique dish. Sweet potato hash browns were the colorful alternative to regular breakfast potatoes, bringing Thanksgiving flavors to the morning table. Grandmothers shredded raw sweet potatoes by hand using box graters, creating orange strands that were squeezed dry in kitchen towels. The shreds were mixed with diced onions, salt, black pepper, and sometimes brown sugar. Cast iron skillets were heated with bacon grease until shimmering. Then the mixture was pressed down firmly. The hash browns cooked slowly, developing a golden crust before being flipped. The result was sweet, savory, and satisfying, with caramelized edges that crunched between teeth. These appeared on breakfast tables throughout November. Children initially suspicious of the orange color quickly became converts after tasting the caramelized sweetness. Sweet potato hash browns represented resourcefulness, turning a dinner ingredient into something breakfast-worthy. Fruit cocktail in heavy syrup was a beloved component of breakfast and dessert menus, particularly during the 1970s. This mix of diced peaches, pears, grapes, pineapple, and cherries, all preserved in thick syrup, was a convenient and tasty addition to many meals. Del Monte and Libby's were leading brands, heavily marketing the product's ease of use and the sweet indulgence it offered. The syrup's rich flavor enhanced the appeal, making the fruit cocktail a quick solution for a sweet serving. In a time when convenience often trumped other considerations, this product stood out for its ability to deliver a variety of fruits in one easy package. Despite shifts in consumer preferences, it remained a practical and appealing choice for those looking for quick fruit options. Mutton fat bread is something that's unapologetically itself. It's too rich, too deep, and it has all the meaty flavors you could ask for. The essence of rendered sheep fat is unmistakable here. It's something that goes perfectly well with day-old bread, slightly dry, a bit hard, and coarse. You know, the entire 9 yards. This is as rustic of a dish as it gets. It absorbs the hot fat in this dish and it crisps on the outside while getting extremely soft on the inside. This dish is something that you would see really commonly whenever you would pass by factory towns or farms, especially among rural laborers, such as people in the 19th and 20th centuries. They were sheep farming regions like the Appalachia, Wales, or the Highlands, and mutton fat was an extremely common ingredient in these areas. That's because it was always far more cheaper than butter, or just a lot more flavorful than lard. The ideal material for frying. The fried bread was also a good way for people to stretch meals, and although some people didn't vibe with the overly gamey taste, back then it was considered a standard of most red meat-based meals. To get back to the dandelion greens with eggs, this wasn't a fancy meal worthy of a restaurant, but it was nutritious and cost, well, basically nothing, which was the two most important facts to put into consideration back then. Plus, there was something satisfying about eating a pest for breakfast. While we are talking about eggs, let's not forget to mention scrambled eggs with breadcrumbs, the ultimate egg stretcher. When you've only got a few eggs but a lot of mouths to feed, you start getting creative. It sounds humble, and it was, but it was also an ingenious way to stretch a couple of eggs into a meal for the whole family. Breadcrumbs, often made from the stale bread sitting around, were mixed into the eggs to bulk them up and make the dish more filling. Sometimes people would even fry the breadcrumbs first to add a bit of crunch. In the Depression era, nothing went to waste, even breadcrumbs. Adding breadcrumbs to eggs wasn't just a cost-cutting trick. It was also a way to make sure everyone got a portion, no matter how little you had to work with. It's nothing revolutionary, and personally, I think it has nothing on the dandelion green eggs, but it was a way to make the bellies stop gurgling. The malted milk drink, a sweet and nostalgic beverage, first appeared in the late 19th century. This creamy delight is made from milk, malt powder, and sometimes ice cream, blended into a refreshing treat. The drink was invented by William Horlick, who patented malted milk powder in 1887 as a nutritious supplement for infants and invalids. It was popularized by brands like Horlicks, which marketed it as a nutritious and tasty option. Unusual flavors or variations of the malted milk drink include chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, adding to its appeal. In the early 20th century, malted milk was touted as a health tonic and was even recommended by doctors for its nutritional benefits. The drink inspired a love for creamy and sweet drinks, often enjoyed as a quick breakfast on the go. Roasted vegetable frittata was the elegant breakfast that showcased autumn's best produce in golden egg custard. Grandmothers roasted vegetables like Brussels sprouts, butternut squash, and red onions until caramelized, then arranged them in cast-iron skillets. Beaten eggs mixed with cream, parmesan, and herbs were poured over the vegetables. The frittata baked until puffed and golden. The result was colorful, impressive, and packed with nutrition. This breakfast could be served hot or at room temperature. Families loved it because it looked fancy but was actually simple. The vegetables provided vitamins on a day that would later focus on richer foods. Adults especially appreciated having something substantial yet light. Children would pick out their favorite vegetables. The frittata could be cut into wedges and eaten with hands. This breakfast proved that vegetables belonged at breakfast, not just dinner, bringing balance to Thanksgiving morning. Creamed eggs on toast involves gently chopped hard-boiled eggs in a creamy sauce, often seasoned with herbs and spices, served over toasted bread. This dish, known for its comforting qualities and simple preparation, became a favored breakfast and light meal option, aligning with American preferences for hearty, straightforward dishes. The versatility in seasoning allowed for a variety of flavors, making it a popular choice in both diners and home kitchens. The dish's rich, creamy texture combined with the ease of preparation made it a reliable choice for a satisfying meal, fitting well into the meal routines of many seeking both comfort and simplicity in their culinary choices. Stewed tomatoes on bread were something created out of thrift necessity, but they ended up being such a massive comfort food for the people that they stuck around. Tomatoes are often canned, right? That didn't used to be a thing until like the 60s, and that's why people really wanted to try out this new variant of tomatoes. They were slow-cooked, fresh with onion, butter, and bacon fat. Some people would go the extra mile, add a bit of sugar and salt, sometimes a hint of spice and vinegar, or take on a really rich and slightly sweet flavor. As these would tend to simmer, they would soften into this thick, chunky sauce that was kind of juicy but not really watery, and it had a really nice acidity to it. It helped that whatever flavors were there would cling really hard to the tomatoes. The simmering process would help them soften into this thick, chunky sauce too, and it went wild with white bread or cornbread. The bread was perfect for absorbing all of that up like a sponge, and that's what made this such a staple throughout the Depression and throughout a lot of the southern areas. Tomatoes are something that nobody ever really runs out of, and stewing them on bread is something that's a forgotten classic for getting through a hungry day. I have quite a sweet tooth today, and I wish I could say that's because that time of the month is approaching. But, oh well, no excuses for me. Coming in on number 3, we have peanut butter muffins. This probably sounds familiar, and that is because you've most likely heard every health-oriented TikToker or Instagram influencer mention it at least once. It is quite popular in today's day and age, and not for bad reasons. But during the Great Depression, they weren't as luxurious as they are today. Quite the contrary, they were literal lifesavers. Peanut butter was cheap, packed with protein, and easy to store, making it a go-to ingredient for stretching meals. The muffins were a genius creation, made from simple pantry staples like flour, sugar, and a big scoop of peanut butter. They didn't need eggs or butter, which were often hard to come by, and they baked up into a hearty, slightly crumbly treat that filled you up for hours. The peanut butter provided a rich, nutty flavor, and you could eat them for breakfast, lunch, or as a snack, midday or midnight. They weren't just about the taste. They were supposed to give you strength for the day, and that's exactly what they did. They were a practical, budget-friendly way to get in as much protein as possible when times were tough. And come on, who doesn't love peanut butter in any way, shape, or form? The Fluffernutter sandwich, created in the early 20th century, is a classic American dish often enjoyed as a sweet treat or snack. This nostalgic sandwich is made by spreading peanut butter and marshmallow fluff on white bread. The dish typically uses soft white bread, which complements the creamy textures of the fillings. The brand of marshmallow spread traditionally used is Marshmallow Fluff, invented in 1917 by Archibald Query in Somerville, Massachusetts. It was originally sold door-to-door before gaining widespread popularity. The sandwich became a popular childhood treat in the mid-20th century because of its sweet and satisfying taste. The term Fluffernutter was coined by an advertising agency in the 1960s, solidifying the sandwich's identity. Let's dig into 30 classic Thanksgiving breakfasts Grandma made that we desperately need again. Pumpkin spice waffles with maple butter were once the centerpiece of Thanksgiving morning, filling kitchens with cinnamon warmth before the turkey even touched the oven. Grandmothers mixed pumpkin puree directly into waffle batter along with nutmeg, ginger, and cloves, creating golden squares that were crispy outside and pillowy soft within. The maple butter was whipped by hand, combining softened butter with pure maple syrup until fluffy and spreadable. These weren't quick breakfasts, but intentional creations, made in heavy cast iron waffle irons. Families gathered around the table while waffles came off the iron one by one. Children fought over corner pieces where the batter crisped darkest. This breakfast gave everyone energy for the marathon of cooking ahead. The aroma announced that Thanksgiving had officially begun. Today's frozen waffles can't touch the satisfaction of watching Grandma pour batter and flip the iron with perfect timing. Ever wondered why Maxwell House Instant Coffee, launched way back in 1892, became synonymous with American mornings? Founded in 1892, its memorable slogan, "Good to the last drop," helped carve its niche in American coffee culture. The brand leveraged traditional, comforting imagery in its marketing, enhancing its appeal as a reliable household staple. Despite the rise of fresher, artisanal coffee options, Maxwell House expanded its line to include premium varieties, adapting to broader tastes. This strategy aimed to maintain relevance amid changing consumer preferences, focusing on providing quality and convenience. Maxwell House's efforts to update its product offerings were crucial in addressing the evolving demands of the coffee-drinking public. Barley breakfast porridge is this incredibly wholesome dish with a supremely nutty flavor. So, it has this really satisfying texture that just feels like you're almost dipping your hooks into a custard, right? But it's also something that can be made to resemble kheer if you've ever had it. It can be made from hulled barley or pearl barley, but depending on which, you get an entirely different flavor merry-go-round. The combination is something that screams cottagecore. Historically, barley porridge really was a cottagecore too. It was a popular breakfast for people who were in rural areas, immigrant communities, and people who lived on the fringes of civilization, especially during winters, when barley was something that everybody was investing in, from the mountains to the cities. Barley breakfast porridge isn't something that's really all that common anymore. It's been overshadowed by oats, granola, and the convenience of all the pre-packaged instant cereals of today, but there's a place for it still. You can cause that comeback yourself by sharing your own take on the barley breakfast porridge. Staying in the sweets aisle, we're moving on to homemade granola. Wow, I know some of you are shocked. That sounds so modern and trendy. But back then, it was a practical, affordable breakfast option for families trying to make every penny count. Granola was made from simple, long-lasting ingredients like oats, nuts, seeds, and dried fruit. Things that could be bought in bulk or found at home. Store-bought cereal was often too expensive, so homemade granola became the go-to breakfast for those looking to save money. It was baked until crunchy and could be eaten with milk, sprinkled on top of yogurt or just munched on as a snack. The best thing about homemade granola is that it is entirely customizable. No raisins? No problem. Throw in some dried apples or whatever you had. No nuts? Just add more oats or seeds. It was the ultimate cleaning out the pantry recipe. Granola could also be made in large batches, meaning you had breakfast sorted for days at a time. It was nutritious, filling, and a little sweet, making mornings feel just a bit more special when times were tough. Plus, it kept well, so you could stretch it out over several days without worrying about it going stale. Scrapple, a traditional Pennsylvania Dutch dish, dates back to the 17th century. It's a savory breakfast item made from pork scraps and cornmeal, formed into a loaf and fried. The dish uses specific animal parts like pork liver, heart, and trimmings, combined with cornmeal and spices, creating a unique flavor profile. Scrapple is usually fried and garnished with maple syrup or ketchup, making it versatile. Scrapple is considered one of the earliest forms of American comfort food, as it was created by German immigrants who settled in Pennsylvania. It's popular for its rich flavor and association with Pennsylvania Dutch culture. It became a regional specialty due to its resourcefulness and distinctive taste. Scrapple holds cultural significance as a testament to frugality and tradition, often served with eggs or toast. Blast off with Tang. Launched by General Foods in 1959, this vibrant drink rocketed into popularity by becoming the beverage of choice for astronauts during the 1960s space race. This stellar connection provided Tang with an unbeatable marketing boost, aligning it with innovation and adventure. With a lineup of flavors like orange, grape, and tropical punch, orange soared as the fan favorite, beloved for its vivid color and zesty taste. Tang's ads frequently featured space missions, solidifying its image as the futuristic drink of choice. Originally designed as a vitamin-enriched drink for convenience, Tang later shifted its marketing towards health-focused themes to keep up with changing consumer preferences about natural ingredients and sugar content. Beef kidney stew is a rich, earthy dish that has a lot to bring to the table. Bold, distinctly old-fashioned flavors and more protein than your muscles probably know what to do with. It gives a really deep umami base. It has a little bit of a mineral flavor, slightly metallic. You know, that's par for the course when you're dealing with actual meat. But you throw this into a skillet with some slow-cooked onions, garlic, red wine, and bay leaves, and you'll end up with this incredibly exotic-looking stew. Dark, glossy, and full of flavor, it's something that has a velvety texture also, thanks to being thickened by flour. The chunks of soft, tender carrot and potato in there also give it an incredible contrast that the dish really needs. Now, historically, this has always been a staple of the working class, especially when you go into the 19th and 20th centuries. Today, beef kidney stew is something that's not really relevant outside of the usual TikTok bringing back age-old recipes. Staying on the sweet side of things, we'll be talking about the ultimate zero-waste recipe, banana bread. Back then, letting food go to waste was practically a crime against humanity, and banana bread was the best solution for those overripe bananas to be saved. Instead of tossing them, creative cooks found a delicious way to use them up. They mixed them with flour, sugar, and a bit of baking soda, and created a nice, dense loaf of heaven. Eggs and butter were optional, and people often replaced them with whatever fat they had lying around. The natural sweetness of bananas made it a budget-friendly alternative to other desserts. Plus, banana bread was highly versatile. You could throw in nuts, raisins, cinnamon, or whatever odds and ends you could scrape up to stretch it even further. Banana bread was one of those Depression-era foods that stuck around to this day, and it's for good reasons. It is the epitome of a sweet, delicious, but healthy treat that has got everyone in a chokehold. It is healthy and packed with nutrients, while still remaining tasteful and filling. No wonder all those cooking influencers are making banana bread every other day. Gee, show us another recipe. Johnny cakes, a traditional American dish, dates back to the early colonial period. They are typically enjoyed as a breakfast or side dish, offering a hearty and simple meal. The dish is made with cornmeal, water, and salt. forming a batter that is fried on a griddle. Traditionally, Johnny cakes are made with stone-ground white cornmeal, which gives them a unique texture and flavor. These cakes are cooked until golden and crisp, then served with butter, syrup, or other toppings. Johnny cakes were a staple food for Native American tribes in the Northeast, who taught European settlers how to make them from local ingredients like cornmeal. Johnny cakes became popular when they were embraced as a traditional breakfast food in New England and the southern United States. Cheddar Bay biscuit breakfast sandwiches combined the beloved restaurant-style biscuits with eggs and sausage for a handheld Thanksgiving meal. Grandmothers made biscuits with shredded cheddar, garlic powder, and melted butter, creating savory breakfast bread. The biscuits were split open while warm and filled with fried eggs, breakfast sausage, and sometimes sharp cheddar. The combination was salty, satisfying, and substantial. These sandwiches were perfect for family members who needed to eat quickly before tackling Thanksgiving tasks. The cheddar biscuits were impressive enough to feel special, but practical. Children loved them because they were fun to eat and tasted like a treat. Adults appreciated having protein and carbs in a portable format. The sandwiches could be wrapped in foil and kept warm, making them ideal for feeding people on different schedules. This breakfast represented convenience meeting indulgence, proving that holiday food didn't have to be complicated to be special.
Curious how Jiffy Pop pancakes made morning meals a breeze with their just add water mix during the hectic 70s. This convenience resonated deeply with the 1970s households, streamlining the morning routine remarkably. The product's simplicity allowed anyone to quickly whip up pancakes, making it a popular choice among families with busy schedules. Jiffy Pop's marketing cleverly focused on these time-saving aspects, often showcasing family breakfasts that were both delicious and hassle-free. The mix was versatile, catering to various taste preferences with different flavors. While Jiffy Pop pancakes enjoyed popularity due to their convenience and taste, the evolving breakfast market eventually led to reduced visibility and presence, as newer breakfast options continued to diversify.
Turnip greens and cornmeal dumplings are a dish that confuses you. Is this survival food? Is this a nice little experiment with dumplings and vegetables? It feels like both. It was actually used in both ways too, so you would be pretty spot on with that assessment. See, people love to have fun with the things they did back then, even if those things were rooted in practicality and optimization. The turnip greens were something you simmered slowly, taking pleasure in the little things in life. You would absorb all the scents, fragrances, and aromas, and honestly, just doing that would kill most of your hunger. Plus, when they would get ready, they would turn silky and dark, and they had this really warm glisten to them. Swimming in a pot liquor broth that was abundant with pork fat, usually from a ham hock, it set the stage for an extremely soulful dish that knows what it's about. The cornmeal dumplings were then thrown into the pot, the perfect addition for something to revitalize your spirits. Soft spoonfuls of cornmeal dough would be mixed with bubbling greens, as they created a perfect Ghibli vibe for you to immerse yourself in. Historically, this is a dish that has been very common in Black and poor white communities. It's easy to romanticize today, but it is also a dish that's rooted in struggle, poverty, and making the most out of very little. Coffee soup, the liquid breakfast of the hard times. Coffee soup was one of the more unconventional Depression-era breakfasts, but it made sense when you think about the times. Coffee was cheap, which might come as a shocker since it is so expensive now. It was also widely available, so when families didn't have much to eat, they turned it into a meal. The recipe was dead simple. Pour a cup of strong, hot coffee over a slice of day-old bread or crackers, and there you have it, breakfast. Sometimes sugar or milk would be added if they were available, but more often than not, it was just coffee and bread. This was a quick and easy way to stretch a little coffee into something that felt a lot more filling than it looked. Coffee soup wasn't exactly gourmet, but it gave people the energy boost they needed to start their day, and it was a comforting routine when other breakfast options were out of reach. The bitter taste of coffee combined with the soft bread created a unique flavor that grew on you after a while. I am a coffee addict as much as the next person, maybe even more, but this may be the tipping point for me. But I guess it's kind of like a tiramisu, only without the cream filling, right? Maybe I would try it. God only knows it can never be too much coffee. German pancakes, also known as Dutch babies, are a unique breakfast dish that originated in the early 20th century. These pancakes are often topped with powdered sugar or fruit. The ingredients for German pancakes include eggs, flour, milk, and sugar, creating a batter that is poured into a hot skillet and baked in the oven. The key ingredient that gives German pancakes their distinct puffiness is eggs, which cause the batter to rise dramatically while baking. These pancakes are typically served with a squeeze of lemon and a dusting of powdered sugar, enhancing their delicate flavor. In the 1960s, Dutch babies gained popularity in California, thanks to Sunset Magazine featuring the recipe in their publication. German pancakes are also commonly referred to as Dutch babies, a name popularized in the United States. Cranberry orange muffins were the tart sweet breakfast that balanced richer Thanksgiving morning dishes with bright, fresh flavor. Grandmothers baked these the night before Thanksgiving, using fresh cranberries that burst during baking and orange zest that perfumed the kitchen. The batter combined flour, sugar, eggs, and buttermilk into something tender and moist. Orange zest was grated directly into the mix, releasing oils that made every bite taste like citrus. The muffins baked until their tops domed and cracked slightly. A simple orange glaze was drizzled over the tops while still warm. These muffins were practical because they could be made ahead, freeing up oven space on Thanksgiving morning. Families grabbed them while rushing through preparations. The combination of tart cranberry and bright orange felt distinctly Thanksgiving. Today's bakery muffins can't match the real fruit flavor Grandma achieved.
Spam rose to prominence during World War II, appreciated for its convenience and shelf life, and it continued to be a staple in American households thereafter. It was marketed as a versatile ingredient suitable for a variety of dishes, appealing to families looking for quick, budget-friendly meal options. Hormel Foods, the maker of Spam, responded to changing culinary preferences by introducing new flavors and varieties, aiming to reinvigorate the brand's appeal amid shifting consumer tastes that favored fresher, less processed food options. These efforts included targeted marketing campaigns that emphasized Spam's versatility in modern home cooking, showcasing its ability to adapt to current trends while maintaining its core identity as a convenient and reliable food product.
Cold potato with an onion salad was basically the chic way to go vegetarian back then. The dish had a subtle charm that heavily relied on the texture and seasoning. It was also ideally served chilled, because, well, science. I'm just kidding, but basically, the starch starts to firm up. This gives the potato a much more dense and sometimes waxy bite that contrasts really well with the creamy dressings. It also works spectacularly with the flavors present in an onion salad, which honestly adds the perfect crunchy element. Cold potatoes can feel like a mush fest after a few bites, so having some alternative textures in there really helps smoothen everything along. Historically, cold potato and onion salad is something we likely derived from 18th century Europe. This is a pretty traditional recipe in German and French circles, and leftover boiled potatoes were always dressed in oil, vinegar, and herbs so that waste could be avoided. American potato salads are something that evolved from these traditions, and they gained a lot of popularity by the time of the 20th century as a potluck, picnic, and community dinner staple. Spoon bread was one of the Depression-era foods that took humble ingredients and transformed them into something magical. It's like cornbread, but with a soft, custard-like texture that you literally scoop out with a spoon, hence the name. Spoon bread was like cornbread's creamy, comforting cousin. It was made from pantry staples, like cornmeal, milk, and a little butter. Spoon bread was a dish that delivered big on comfort despite being simple and cheap. It was baked until golden on top but still creamy inside, almost like a cross between pudding and bread. The beauty of spoon bread is that it didn't take much for it to be absolutely delicious. No toppings, no spices, nothing of that sort. You could enjoy it plain or add a bit of cheese, sugar, or even that leftover bell pepper hiding away in the pantry. It was great for breakfast, a side dish for dinner, or even as a dessert with a drizzle of honey. In tough times, spoon bread was the perfect way to make a little cornmeal go a long way. And anyway, Any food you can eat with a spoon has a cozy vibe to it, doesn't it? Breakfast in a can is a quirky and convenient dish that emerged in the early 20th century. This all-in-one meal includes ingredients like beans, sausage, eggs, or pancakes, all packed into a can for easy prep. The convenience and versatility of this dish have made it a favorite among campers, hikers, and outdoor enthusiasts. During World War II, breakfast in a can became popular among soldiers as a portable and shelf-stable option for breakfast in the field. The type of meat commonly used in breakfast in a can varies, but it often includes sausage or bacon, providing a savory and filling meal. Breakfast in a can showcases the potential for ready-to-eat meals. Despite its humble origins, breakfast in a can continues to be enjoyed today as a convenient and satisfying breakfast option for people on the go. Cornbread stuffing waffles were the genius breakfast that repurposed leftover Thanksgiving prep into something completely new. Grandmothers took prepared cornbread stuffing and pressed it into hot waffle irons, creating crispy squares that were savory and herby. The waffle iron transformed the stuffing into something with crunchy exterior and tender interior, with herbs like sage perfuming every bite. These were topped with gravy, fried eggs, or cranberry sauce for those who loved sweet and savory combinations. The beauty was in the resourcefulness, turning what might have been wasted into creative breakfast. Families loved them because they tasted like Thanksgiving dinner but felt appropriate for morning. Children thought eating stuffing for breakfast was hilarious. Adults appreciated the protein and the crispy edges. The waffles could be made with leftover stuffing after Thanksgiving too, extending holiday flavors into the weekend. This breakfast proved that creativity in the kitchen knew no boundaries.
Remember Quisp cereal? Launched by Quaker Oats in 1965, this cereal brought a whole new level of fun to the breakfast table with its alien mascot and saucer-shaped pieces. It quickly won over children with its sugary flavor and captivating animated commercials that made breakfast fun. The cereal's unique branding and playful design were key differentiators in a crowded market. Despite its initial success, the shift towards healthier breakfast options posed challenges for Quisp, leading to its eventual status as a nostalgic item brought back periodically to appeal to adults who had grown up with it. This strategic shift in marketing to tap into nostalgia, combined with occasional updates to its formula, allowed Quisp to maintain interest among former fans while navigating the complexities of modern cereal markets.
Fried salt pork with cornbread is a plateful of everything you like if you like bitter, salty tastes. Fat, frontier grit, and salt, this is the kind of food that made men out of boys. It's the kind of food that builds up muscle that isn't just for show, but the kind that gets railroads built. It's also the kind of food that people eat when they want to last through an especially aggressive winter. The salt pork gets heavily cured for preservation purposes, and it becomes streaked with fat. It's sliced into these thick strips and chunks, and then it's pan-fried until it's supremely crisp on the outside and really chewy in the middle. It tastes a bit like old bacon, especially the parts of it that are super salty and smoky. They have a very satisfying crunch, and they have a very lingering richness that just stays in your mouth. This is a combo that you would see a lot in the South and Appalachian regions, especially because salt pork was such an ideal way to preserve things. It is pretty much something everyone's grandparents have made at some point, despite now being something that's largely in the background. Since I can't stop thinking about sweets, let's circle back to them for a bit. Applesauce bread. Applesauce bread was one of those sweet, comforting recipes that made a comeback in the Great Depression when butter, sugar, and milk were hard to come by. Applesauce was cheap, easy to make, and could substitute for many of the pricier ingredients in baking. Applesauce added moisture and sweetness to bread without needing lots of sugar, butter, or oil. Pretty much all the good stuff that people didn't have access to. You'd mix it with flour, baking soda, and whatever spices were around. Cinnamon was the best, but you had to be lucky. This was the perfect recipe to create a dense, cake-like bread that was perfect for breakfast or dessert. And let's not forget the applesauce itself. It was a hero in its own right. People made it from leftover or bruised apples that would have otherwise gone to waste. So, not only was applesauce bread thrifty, but it was also the original waste-free, eco-friendly breakfast. Plus, it could be easily customized with nuts, raisins, or anything else you had on hand to make it stretch further. In a time when dessert was a rare treat, applesauce bread brought a little sweetness into some pretty tough days. Deviled eggs for breakfast is a surprising yet delightful dish that has roots in the early 20th century. It's a brunch favorite, featuring hard-boiled eggs filled with a creamy mixture of egg yolks, mayonnaise, mustard, and spices. Dijon or yellow mustard is typically used for a tangy kick, while toppings like paprika, chives, bacon bits, or caviar add variety. The dish is unique compared to other egg-based dishes because of its creamy and tangy filling, contrasting with the firm egg whites. Deviled eggs were originally known as stuffed eggs and appeared in American cookbooks as early as the 19th century, with variations featuring ingredients like vinegar, capers, and anchovies. Butternut squash fritters brought vegetable-forward eating to Thanksgiving breakfast, turning winter squash into crispy cakes that satisfied like meat. Grandmothers roasted butternut squash the day before, then mashed the tender flesh with eggs, flour, scallions, and warm spices like nutmeg. The mixture was formed into patties and pan-fried in butter until golden brown, creating fritters that were savory and slightly sweet. The exterior crisped beautifully while the interior stayed soft. These were served with sour cream on the side. Families appreciated having a vegetable dish at breakfast. Children who normally rejected squash would eat these happily. The fritters used up extra squash from pre-Thanksgiving cooking experiments. Adults loved them with coffee, finding the savory flavors perfect for morning. This breakfast represented creativity, proving that Thanksgiving vegetables deserved attention at every meal.
TV brand frozen breakfasts offered a comprehensive, ready-to-eat meal solution that included sausages, eggs, pancakes, and hash browns, simplifying the morning routine for many American families. Introduced in the 1970s, these breakfasts catered to the need for convenience and variety, allowing families to enjoy a hearty meal without extensive preparation. The marketing of these products highlighted their quick and easy preparation, appealing particularly to those with hectic morning schedules. The assortment within each package made these breakfasts highly appealing, as they catered to various preferences within a family, all from a single, easy-to-prepare kit. This product line was well received for providing a diverse and satisfying breakfast experience that could be enjoyed by everyone at the table.
Bacon fat griddle cakes are something that are pretty much just pure, smoky nostalgia. They're the right kind of greasy. They're visually stunning, and they're full of so much flavor that you'll wonder why people stopped making these in the first place. The best part? They're so good to make on a budget. All that's required for this recipe is some flour, milk, eggs, and just a tad bit of cornmeal, sugar, and maybe molasses if you're really feeling like a dessert king. You're going to have got really old school with the griddle. You take leftover bacon grease instead of any butter or oil, and once your cake's shape is completely done, you just slap them on the griddle. What you get for all your hard, strenuous work is a very crispy-edged, savory and sweet pancake that has a lot of smokiness to it. Each bite feels like a crunch, but the exterior is what's really worth talking about. Obviously, you'd expect something like this to have a fluffy inside, but the exterior is just the perfect start to a delicious bite. As I mentioned before, eggs were hard to come by in those times, and it showed. Food didn't contain enough protein, and it was hard to maintain energy levels throughout the day. Now, I know eggless waffles might sound like an oxymoron, but during the Great Depression, you had to get creative. The secret? People started using a mix of flour, baking powder, and any liquid that was available, milk if you were living on a higher leg, and water if you were not. This created a batter that cooked up into crispy waffles. The texture wasn't quite as fluffy as regular waffles, but they were still delicious and could be topped with syrup, butter, or even some homemade jam if you had it. Eggless waffles became a symbol of resourcefulness and showed that you didn't need fancy ingredients to make something tasty. These waffles were the perfect balance of crunchy and chewy, proving that breakfast could still feel special, even when the cupboards were practically bare. Puffed wheat cereal, which was first created in the late 19th century, is a light and airy breakfast food that has been enjoyed for generations. The cereal, made from whole wheat grains, is typically enjoyed with milk or as a topping for yogurt. The process of making puffed wheat cereal involves exposing the grains to high pressure and heat, which causes them to expand and become light and crispy. Puffed wheat cereal was popularized by the Quaker Oats Company, which marketed the cereal as a healthy and nutritious breakfast option. Quaker puffed wheat was introduced in 1909 by the Quaker Oats Company, following the success of their puffed rice cereal. The cereal's unique light texture sets it apart from other breakfast cereals. In 1952, puffed wheat was one of the cereals featured in the first televised commercial for Quaker Oats, showcasing its versatility and appeal. Brown sugar bacon was the candy-like breakfast meat that turned ordinary bacon strips into something special enough for Thanksgiving morning. Grandmothers laid thick-cut bacon on rimmed baking sheets, then pressed brown sugar firmly onto each strip. The bacon baked slowly in the oven until the fat rendered, and the sugar melted into a glossy glaze that was smoky, salty, and sweet. The kitchen filled with an aroma that was impossible to resist. The bacon emerged from the oven sticky and crisp, with caramelized edges that shattered between teeth. These strips were dangerous because eating one meant craving 5 more. Grandmothers often doubled the recipe, knowing everyone would want more than a civilized portion. The bacon appeared on breakfast platters but also disappeared as snacks throughout the morning. Children would sneak pieces when Grandma's back was turned. This breakfast represented pure indulgence.
Remember Grape Nuts Flakes? Introduced as a variant of the original Grape Nuts cereal, offered a flakier texture while retaining the nutritional benefits of the original, such as being high in fiber and low in sugar. These flakes appealed to consumers seeking a nutritious yet convenient breakfast option, fitting well into a balanced diet. Known for their crunchy texture, Grape Nuts Flakes were often consumed with milk or yogurt, providing a satisfying meal. The cereal was marketed for its health benefits, which resonated with health-conscious consumers. The distinct texture and robust flavor of Grape Nuts Flakes made them a staple in some homes, favored for their contribution to a healthy lifestyle and their ability to offer a fulfilling start to the day.
Beef drippings on toast are the quintessential middle-aged dad breakfast, and I'm referring to a really specific kind of dad too. Beer belly. Loaded forearms built over a career of a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, and the ability to fall asleep on a floor in jeans and eat literally anything. We all know the type. Beef drippings on toast were a breakfast that people largely made when they were low on materials for anything else. Toast is nice, but people have been hearing about it for literally centuries and, things just get old. People like to spice their toast up. It's only human. It's pretty much just what you would expect, too. Beef drippings are largely a byproduct of bacon and red meat cooking, and people like to scoop that up and preserve it as much as they could. You could pour it over beans, or just about anything, really. It was the kind of thing that would last you through several uncomfortable situations. Having to eat the same bland toast sounds pretty uncomfortable to me. It was also not as meaty or greasy as you would expect. It pretty much just tasted like your regular old beef. And this is what helped it to stay a consistent breakfast option throughout a lot of the 1950s and 1960s. I wish these were the sweet kind of muffins, but unfortunately they're not. We are going to get to know one of the breakfast staples of the Great Depression era, carrot muffins. Some might say that this was a sweet way to sneak some veggies to the table. With butter and sugar in short supply, people used the natural sweetness of carrots to help flavor their muffins, creating a sweet and moist breakfast without breaking the bank. Now, I get that carrots have a sweet taste to them, but I wouldn't call this meal sweet unless someone added some sugar to it. Not much, just a little would be enough. These muffins were also super versatile. If you had some cinnamon or nutmeg, you could spice them up. Or if you had some raisins or nuts, you could throw them in too for some extra flavor. They were an affordable, filling option that got people through hard times and got some vegetables into kids' mouths and bellies. Not a total parenting waste, don't you think? Just kidding, it was an epic parenting victory. Any veggies that somehow get into kids' hands is a win-win situation. Rice Krispies Treats for Breakfast is a playful and inventive dish that originated in the mid-20th century. In 1940, Kellogg's introduced Rice Krispies cereal, and soon after, recipes for Rice Krispies treats began appearing on the cereal box, contributing to their widespread popularity. This fun treat consists of Rice Krispies cereal mixed with melted marshmallows and butter, shaped into bars. Rice Krispies give it a light and crispy texture, while toppings like chocolate chips, peanut butter, or colorful sprinkles make it festive. The treats gained popularity when families began enjoying them as a playful snack, beloved by both children and adults. Their airy texture and gooey sweetness set them apart from other cereal-based treats. Rice Krispies treats showcase the potential for creative and indulgent snacks, reflecting the joy of childhood and the endless possibilities of breakfast. Pecan pie overnight oats gave busy Thanksgiving cooks something healthy that could be grabbed from the refrigerator without any morning effort. Grandmothers combined rolled oats with milk, brown sugar, chopped pecans, cinnamon, and vanilla in mason jars the night before. The mixture sat in the refrigerator overnight, with the oats absorbing liquid and softening into creamy porridge. In the morning, the jars were topped with extra pecans and maple syrup. The beauty was in the convenience and the fact that everything was made ahead. Families could eat breakfast at different times as people woke up. The flavor was familiar and comforting, connecting breakfast to the pecan pie that would appear later. Health-conscious relatives appreciated having something with oats and nuts. Children enjoyed eating from their own individual jars, feeling grown up. This breakfast represented modern convenience applied to traditional flavors.
Post-fortified oat flakes were marketed as a health-oriented breakfast option, enriched with vitamins and minerals to appeal to health-conscious consumers. Introduced by Post cereals, they were promoted for their benefits like improved heart health and additional fiber, aligning with the increasing health trends of the mid-20th century. The oat flakes stood out for their nutritional value and were marketed through various campaigns emphasizing their health benefits. These flakes were known for their hearty texture, which provided a fulfilling start to the day, making them a favored choice for those looking to maintain a healthy diet. The focus on health and nutrition helped establish post-fortified oat flakes as a reliable breakfast option during their time on the market.
So fried cornmeal mush with syrup was this really golden, crispy edge throwback to times where meals like this counted as a wonderful breakfast. It was made from what was essentially just a chilled polenta, or otherwise known as cornmeal mush. You would slice these into thick slabs, pan-fry them until the outside was a complete crackling crust, and then the inside would stay really soft, dense, and creamy. Topping these with a bit of drizzle, sorghum and maple would complete the experience, and you would be enjoying a beautiful contrast of textures, flavors, and the crunchiness of it all. Cornmeal is a deeply hearty dish. It's something that sticks with you, and the nutty flavors help with that. This was a dish that was so common amongst Midwestern farm families and Southern homes throughout the 1800s and 1940s, and that was partially because cornmeal was so abundant that people just made up different versions of similar dishes. You will find it in old cookbooks, certain off-road diners that really try to stick to the whole mid-90s vibe, and Southern homes, but it's largely something that just doesn't get much traction anymore. Even still, cornmeal mush was amazing, and deserves to have its name in the Hall of Fame of easy, convenient breakfasts you can rely on. For today, you'll just have to deal with my sweet tooth and my cravings. Sorry, not sorry. For our next dish, we have rice pancakes. They were a Depression-era classic that turned leftover rice into a delicious breakfast. When food was scarce, nothing went to waste, and this is a perfect example of that. Instead of throwing out last night's leftover rice, people would mix it with a little flour, milk, and an egg if they had one. The batter was then fried up into crispy golden pancakes. Now the same thing goes for buckwheat pancakes. Rice pancakes weren't as fluffy. They were rather a bit chewy thanks to the rice itself, but they were just as good when topped with a bit of butter or syrup. And let's face it, anything that resembles a pancake feels like a treat, even when it's made from the scraps of yesterday's dinner. They were highly adaptable to what your pantry had to offer at that moment. They could go sweet with just a sprinkle of sugar, or savory with a pinch of salt? In a time when creativity in the kitchen was key, rice pancakes were a clever way to make a filling breakfast from practically nothing, proving that resourcefulness can lead to some pretty tasty results. French toast with powdered sugar, also known as pain perdu in France, is a beloved breakfast dish dating back to the 4th or 5th century. It involves dipping bread in a mixture of eggs and milk, then frying it until golden brown. Traditionally, it's served with powdered sugar, though various toppings like fruit or syrup can be added. The bread choice impacts the dish, with brioche or challah being popular for their rich texture and flavor. The name pain perdu means lost bread, as it originally used stale bread to prevent waste. Unique toppings such as cream or savory ingredients have added variety to this classic. In the U.S., Julia Child popularized French toast, cementing its place in American cuisine and making it a household staple. Her televised cooking show, The French Chef, played a significant role in introducing French toast to a wider American audience. Harvest fruit salad with honey lime dressing was the bright, refreshing breakfast that balanced heavier Thanksgiving morning dishes. Grandmothers combined seasonal fruits like apples, pears, persimmons, and pomegranate seeds in large bowls. The dressing was made from honey, fresh lime juice, and ginger. The fruits were tossed gently until everything glistened. The salad was colorful and beautiful, with red pomegranate seeds sparkling like jewels. Families loved having something fresh on a day that would later become heavy. The honey lime dressing elevated simple fruit into something special. Children would pick out their favorite fruits, while adults appreciated the refreshing contrast. The salad could be made the night before. Health-conscious relatives especially appreciated having something naturally sweet. This breakfast proved that simplicity and freshness could be just as special as elaborate preparations on Thanksgiving morning.
Wheatena, a whole wheat hot cereal known for its hearty flavor and nutritional benefits, catered to health-conscious consumers since its introduction in the late 19th century. Its high fiber and mineral content were key selling points, attracting those seeking a nutritious breakfast. The all-natural composition of Wheatena appealed to consumers looking for wholesome meal options. It was often served warm and could be enhanced with fruits or nuts, allowing for customization according to individual taste preferences. This adaptability made Wheatena a preferred choice for those who valued both health and flavor in their breakfast, establishing it as a nutritious option capable of providing sustained energy throughout the morning.
Fatback and grits is pretty much something you would always identify as Southern comfort food. It's just something that's always been so heavily associated with the South, and that's for a good reason. Southern restaurants, families, churches, charity organizations, and a lot more have relied on this because it's just that good at what it does. You get an extremely soul-sustaining dish that's very popular in the rural South, and in farming communities, it's a gold mine. This is something that's also considered treasure among sharecroppers. But really, why is everyone putting all their stocks into this? Well, fatback was just an inexpensive and convenient way to preserve pork. And I mean seriously preserve it, something that was this valuable of a protein source needed to go all the extra miles it could, and the people of America were all about making it last as long as possible. Grits would be made from ground hominy corn, and a lot of farmsteads and rural communities back then had their own practices of growing corn derived from Native American techniques and farming methods. Nowadays, fatback and grits just isn't something you see much in America anymore. But if you go for rustic, vintage Southern joints, you can find some authentic recipes. Most restaurants serve refined versions of this old classic now, though. So keep that in mind if you're looking to vlog a very faithful rendition of this dish. Milk and cracker soup. That sounds, weird, to say the least. Milk and cracker soup was a simple, no-frills breakfast born out of necessity. When fresh bread was scarce and cereal was too expensive, people turned to whatever they had in the pantry, often crackers or stale bread, and made them work. The recipe was as basic as it sounds: crumbled crackers or leftover stale bread in a bowl with warm milk poured over them. Sometimes sugar or a sprinkle of cinnamon would be added if available, but more often it was just a pinch of salt. I mean, this dish wasn't going to sweep Gordon Ramsay off his feet or win any culinary awards, but it was quick, easy, and used up those last bits of pantry items that would otherwise go to waste. And that was the important part, keeping the tummies full and staying on budget. Milk and cracker soup wasn't fancy, but it stretched the family food budget, which was the whole point during the Great Depression times. The soft, mushy texture wasn't for everyone, but for families who needed to make a meal out of whatever they had, this dish was a reliable go-to. Kugel spread on toast was a quirky and delightful dish first created in the early 1970s. The dish consists of kugel, a flavored peanut butter spread slathered on toast. Kugel came in various unique flavors like chocolate, vanilla, cinnamon, and banana, making it a playful alternative to regular peanut butter. The spread, manufactured by Kraft, became popular due to its unique and sweet flavors, which appealed to children and adults alike. The most popular flavor of Kugel spread was chocolate, which was often enjoyed as a sweet breakfast treat or snack. Kugel was discontinued in the late 1970s due to declining sales. Sausage gravy over buttermilk biscuits was the hearty foundation that fueled families through Thanksgiving morning cooking marathons. Grandmothers started with bulk pork sausage, breaking it into crumbles in cast-iron skillets until the meat browned and fat rendered out. Flour was sprinkled directly into the drippings, stirred constantly until it formed a roux that would thicken the milk. Whole milk was added slowly, creating a sauce that was peppery, rich, and substantial. The biscuits were made from scratch hours earlier, using cold buttermilk and lard to create layers that flaked apart. Each biscuit was torn in half and covered with generous ladles of gravy. This breakfast appeared on tables across the South, where Thanksgiving meant feeding crowds. Men especially loved this meal, knowing it would sustain them through hours of work. The combination created comfort that modern fast food will never match.
Eggs in a nest, also known as eggs in a frame, brought a playful twist to traditional breakfast eggs by frying them inside a hole cut from a slice of bread. This simple yet delightful dish allowed for creativity and personalization during preparation, making breakfast an engaging meal. It was particularly popular for its ease of preparation and the joy it brought to the breakfast table, allowing for variations such as different bread types or added toppings like cheese or herbs. The interactive cooking process, cutting the bread and watching the egg cook perfectly in the middle, was a key appeal, making it a favorite among families. This dish stood out for its simplicity and the fun it added to cooking, making it a go-to choice for a quick and enjoyable breakfast.
Buckwheat porridge is a dish that screams warm and umami. It has a very nutty backbone and it has an incredibly rustic flavor profile. If you cook this slowly, the buckwheat groats start to absorb water and the milk. The end result is this ultra-divine, thick porridge that's really filling, deeply satisfying, and just what you need after a hard day of work. Its texture is something that's a lot coarser than oatmeal, it's a lot chewier, it's more toothsome, and it has a rich and bitter flavor that makes it stand out from softer kinds of breakfast grains. Unsweetened, it's a bit less robust. It leans towards savory more than it does to anything complex, flavor-wise. Sweeten it with molasses, honey, or brown sugar, though, and you get an entirely different picture. Vividly smoky, deeply sweet, and just the right kind of warm, it becomes this ideal comfort food that restores your spirit and gets you ready for your day. Buckwheat porridge has always been something people have used like that, to just get themselves on their feet when they don't feel like making anything else, and I think it's time to bring the tradition back for all grain enthusiasts. Biscuits were the bread of choice during the Great Depression. Quick, cheap, and made from the most basic ingredients. Flour, baking powder, salt, and fat, like butter, lard, or even oil if you were out of options, were all you needed to whip up a batch of these simple but satisfying biscuits. They didn't rise as tall or flake as beautifully as the buttery biscuits we think of today, but they got the job done, providing a warm, filling base for many meals. Whether served with eggs, slathered with jam, or covered in gravy, biscuits were a versatile and reliable breakfast option. They were especially great for families because they could stretch out a meal. Fill up on biscuits, and you wouldn't need as much of the pricier stuff like meat or dairy. Sometimes people would add whatever they had lying around, like cheese, herbs, or even mashed potatoes, to bulk them up and make them more interesting. Whether served at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, simple biscuits were a Depression-era favorite because they were easy to make and comforting. In tough times, a warm biscuit was like a small luxury that could make even the hardest days a little better. Hamburger hash, a hearty and comforting dish, became popular in the mid-20th century. It's a breakfast favorite made with ground beef, potatoes, and onions sautéed together. Ground chuck is often used for a flavorful base. Hamburger hash is garnished with fresh herbs or served with eggs, adding to its satisfying taste. The dish became popular for its convenience and hearty appeal, especially for families or large groups. Regional variations exist, such as incorporating bell peppers or different meats. In some regions, corned beef hash is a popular variation, using corned beef instead of ground beef. The dish was commonly paired with coffee or juice for breakfast, reflecting America's love for hearty morning meals. Maple bacon Brussels sprouts were the surprising breakfast vegetable that converted Brussels sprouts haters into believers. Grandmothers halved fresh Brussels sprouts and roasted them with bacon pieces until crispy and caramelized. Maple syrup was drizzled over everything in the last few minutes, creating a sweet glaze. The combination was unexpectedly perfect, with maple sweetness balancing the slight bitterness while bacon added smokiness. This breakfast proved that vegetables could be exciting at any meal. Families loved having something green on Thanksgiving morning. The Brussels sprouts provided fiber and vitamins. Children who normally refused vegetables would try these because the bacon made them less intimidating. Adults appreciated having a savory vegetable option. The dish could be served warm or at room temperature. This breakfast proved that thinking creatively about vegetables could make them welcome at any meal, even Thanksgiving breakfast, when tradition usually ruled.
Lastly, grilled grapefruit with maraschino cherries offered a unique blend of tart and sweet flavors, becoming a popular breakfast dish during the mid-20th century. The preparation involved having a grapefruit, sprinkling it with sugar, and broiling it until caramelized, then topping it with a maraschino cherry for added sweetness and visual appeal. This combination of flavors and the simple yet elegant presentation made it a sophisticated breakfast choice. The dish was often part of a larger breakfast spread, admired for its vibrant appearance and the delightful contrast of flavors. Its straightforward preparation allowed home cooks to easily create a gourmet-like dish, enhancing the breakfast experience with a touch of indulgence and culinary flair.
The classic simple snack plate consists of salty, greasy, and unpretentious sardines and crackers. With just a little pressure, the soft, flaky sardines, which can be packed in oil, mustard, tomato sauce, or even fiery chilies, will surrender. They have a strong marine flavor that is more akin to a preserved richness that has been mellowed by time and oil than it is to fresh fish. Crackers provide the sardines the crunch and blandness they need to counterbalance their aggressiveness. The combination is still modest and incredibly fulfilling, even with the addition of a dollop of mustard, a splash of spicy sauce, or even a few thin slices of onion. This pairing was a classic lunchbox or supper standby throughout the 20th century, especially during the Great Depression, wartime rationing, and the working-class boom of the 1950s. Sardines were shelf-stable, high in protein, and inexpensive, making them a go-to for mill workers, fishermen, factory hands, and anyone needing a quick, filling bite. Served with saltines or butter crackers, they required no cooking, no refrigeration, and no fuss. Some folks even kept a can in their coat pocket for lunch on the job. Some of the most popular brands of sardines back then were Beechcliff, Brunswick, and Underwood. And some of these are still putting out the same sardines today. If you want to really stick to the recipe, there's no better time to do it than now. Buckwheat pancakes were the breakfast hit during the Great Depression thanks to their hearty, filling nature. Buckwheat flour was much cheaper and had more nutritional value than regular flour. These pancakes were dense, nutty, and full of flavor, making them a favorite among families who needed to stretch their ingredients and get the most bang for their buck. Buckwheat is a grain that's rich in fiber and protein, which meant these pancakes could keep you full for hours, ideal for long workdays ahead. Now, these weren't your regular fluffy pancakes you see pop up on your feed. They were more rustic and had an earthy texture that went perfectly with a little syrup and honey. They were quite versatile, so some people even made them savory, frying them in bacon grease or adding onions. They were a flexible dish. They could be dinner one day and breakfast the other. These pancakes were perfect for mornings when you needed something substantial but had few resources. Plus, they were a great way to introduce a little variety into the daily breakfast routine, giving you a break from the usual oatmeal or porridge. The bologna and egg breakfast sandwich is a straightforward and satisfying dish that has been enjoyed since the mid-20th century. This dish combines fried bologna, a cooked egg, and cheese on a soft roll or bread. Fried bologna sandwiches have been a staple in working-class American households since the early 20th century, providing a hearty and affordable meal option. The bologna is typically prepared by frying it until it develops a crispy edge, while the egg is cooked to preference, often sunny side up or over easy. The sandwich is usually served on a soft roll or white bread, complementing the savory fillings. In 2019, a food truck in Nashville, Tennessee, gained attention for serving gourmet versions of the classic bologna and egg sandwich, elevating it to a trendy brunch item. Sausage and cheddar grits casserole was the Southern breakfast that combined creamy grits, savory sausage, and sharp cheese into one dish. Grandmothers cooked stone-ground grits until tender, then stirred in butter, sharp cheddar cheese, and cooked breakfast sausage. Beaten eggs were folded in to help the casserole set, then everything was poured into buttered baking dishes. The casserole baked until golden on top with cheese bubbling at the edges. This breakfast could feed a crowd from a single dish, making it perfect when many relatives gathered. The grits provided comforting texture while the sausage added protein. Families loved it because it could be assembled the night before and baked in the morning. The Southern flavors felt appropriate for Thanksgiving. Children loved the cheesy richness, while adults appreciated the heartiness. The casserole could be cut into squares and served. This breakfast proved that humble ingredients could create something special and satisfying.
King Vitamin cereal, launched by Quaker Oats in the early 1970s, targeted young consumers with its king-themed mascot and crown-shaped cereal pieces. Its packaging, often featuring puzzles and stories, directly appealed to children's love for adventure and discovery. Fortified with vitamins and minerals, the cereal was an attractive choice for parents seeking nutritious options for their children's breakfasts. The engaging marketing campaigns utilized animated commercials that brought the whimsical world of King Vitamin to life, enhancing its appeal. The cereal's sweet flavor and unique shapes helped it stand out in the competitive market of children's cereals, making it a popular choice during its peak years, especially appreciated for its fun and nutritional content.
Ham and red-eye gravy is something that's considered a Southern classic. It has a really bold, salty personality, and it's a very no-nonsense flavor profile as well. This is a dish that takes country ham, which is typically dry-cured and goes the pan-frying route. The idea is to fry it until you see those dark brown edges crisping up in the pan. After that, you get an incredible flavor explosion in the form of concentrated pork drippings, and these then take a further unexpected turn. You start to pour in strong black coffee. Now I know you're about to fast forward 10 seconds, but hear me out, okay? The result isn't creamy or thick like you would expect. The coffee ends up deglazing the pan, and it creates this super thin reddish-brown gravy that has an unmistakable sheen to it. The result is a punchy, smoky, and bitter-tasting gravy, but not overwhelmingly bitter, and the coffee cuts through a lot of the richness of the ham fat. This is something you would see so commonly among rail workers in Tennessee and Alabama, especially if it was in the afternoon hours. The caffeine really helped with the job. Grits with butter was the ultimate Depression-era comfort bowl. Made from ground core, grits were cheap, easy to make, and filling. All you had to do was boil them up with water or milk if you had it, and they turned into a creamy, comforting bowl of goodness. Adding butter on top made this dish feel even more satisfying. Grits were a Southern staple, but during the Depression they found their way onto tables everywhere because they were so affordable and could feed a crowd on a shoestring budget. The best thing about grits is that they can be customized in any way you'd like. If you had cheese, you'd throw that in for cheesy grits. A little bacon grease? Now you've got a savory, rich breakfast. But even plain, with just a pat of butter and a pinch of salt, grits were a warm, filling start to the day. Grits is one of those foods that remind me of home and cold fall mornings. Cereal with half and half is a decadent and indulgent breakfast choice that became popular in the mid-20th century. This dish involves serving cereal with half and half cream instead of milk, creating a rich and creamy experience. The type of cereal most commonly used in this dish varies, but it often includes classic choices like Corn Flakes or Wheaties. The reason half and half is used instead of milk is to add a luxurious texture and flavor, enhancing the cereal's taste. In recent years, health-conscious consumers have sought alternatives to traditional half and half, leading to the popularity of dairy-free options like almond milk or oat milk for this indulgent breakfast dish. Apple cider. French toast transformed ordinary breakfast bread into something that tasted like concentrated autumn. Grandmothers soaked thick slices of day-old bread in a mixture of eggs, apple cider, cinnamon, and vanilla, letting each piece absorb the liquid. The cider added natural apple sweetness and tang that regular milk couldn't provide. Cast iron griddles were buttered generously, then the soaked bread was laid down to cook slowly until golden brown. The bread puffed up as it cooked, creating custardy interiors. Served with butter and warm maple syrup, this breakfast felt celebratory and special. Families loved it because it used up bread that might otherwise go stale. The apple cider flavor connected breakfast to the season's apple-picking traditions. Children would request seconds and thirds, their plates sticky with syrup. Today's frozen French toast can't match this homemade version.
Mapo Instant Maple Oatmeal set itself apart in the competitive oatmeal market with its unique maple flavor and the ease of instant preparation. Introduced in 1953, it became especially popular among families for its appealing taste and the memorable marketing character Marky Mapo, which resonated with children. The convenience of just adding hot water made Mapo a preferred choice for quick breakfasts, aligning well with the growing demand for efficient meal solutions. The distinctive maple flavor offered a sweet, comforting taste that stood out from more traditional oatmeal flavors, making Mapo a notable option in the breakfast category, favored for its taste and quick preparation.
Stewed dried apples are something that smell like an old kitchen in the middle of fall. I'm talking about warm colors, scents, spices, and fruity notes galore. The apples are leathery slices, but you can also cut them up into the shape of rings for some extra visual flair. They get simmered really slowly in water, and when they plump back to life, they start to go really tender. These are super chewy at their core, and sugar, cinnamon, or just a little bit of clove will give them that extra weight they're missing. Stewed dried apples have been a pantry essential across many centuries, but particularly the 19th century in Southern America. That's because drying apples was the most standard way of keeping them all right before refrigeration came along. Hardtack with jam. What's that, you might be wondering? Hardtack was the notoriously hard, dry biscuit that was used by sailors and soldiers. It had made a surprising comeback during the Great Depression. This shelf-stable cracker, made from flour, water, and salt, could last for months, making it perfect for tough times when fresh bread was a luxury. But eating hardtack on its own was just sad. And let's not forget to mention, hard on your teeth. That's where jam came to the rescue. Adding a smear of jam, or whatever sweet spread you could get your hands on, made the hardtack not only edible, but actually enjoyable. The sweetness of the jam softened the hard biscuit a bit, turning it into a makeshift breakfast that could carry you through the morning. Hardtack with jam wasn't about gourmet flavors. It was about survival, stretching ingredients, and making the most of what you had, whether you soaked it in coffee or milk to soften it up or just a bit down and hope for the best. Hardtack with jam was a Depression-era breakfast that proved you didn't need a lot to make something work. It was basic, yes, but it got the job done and added a little brightness to an otherwise tough time. Whole wheat pumpkin waffles brought wholesome nutrition to Thanksgiving morning without sacrificing flavor. Grandmothers mixed whole wheat flour with pumpkin puree, eggs, milk, and warm spices. The whole wheat added nutty flavor while the pumpkin kept the waffles moist. These were cooked in waffle irons until crispy outside. The waffles were more substantial than those made with white flour, keeping families full longer. Health-conscious cooks loved having a breakfast option that provided whole grains. The pumpkin added vitamins and natural sweetness. Children couldn't tell these were healthier because they tasted just as good as regular waffles. Adults appreciated starting Thanksgiving with something wholesome before the indulgent meal ahead. The waffles could be made ahead and reheated. This breakfast proved that healthy and delicious weren't mutually exclusive, bringing balance to Thanksgiving morning without sacrificing celebration or flavor.
Blast off with Tang. Launched by General Foods in 1959, this vibrant drink rocketed into popularity by becoming the beverage of choice for astronauts during the 1960s space race. This stellar connection provided Tang with an unbeatable marketing boost, aligning it with innovation and adventure. With a lineup of flavors like orange, grape, and tropical punch, orange soared as the fan favorite, beloved for its vivid color and zesty taste. Tang's ads frequently featured space missions, solidifying its image as the futuristic drink of choice. Originally designed as a vitamin-enriched drink for convenience, Tang later shifted its marketing towards health-focused themes to keep up with changing consumer preferences about natural ingredients and sugar content.
Sauce is a dish that actually shows you just how much resourcefulness the working class had back then. The nose-to-tail mentality of people was really something that persisted throughout several centuries before coming to a close leading up to the 2000s. This is a dish that was incredibly averse to being typical. It was one of those things that was different not because it wanted to be, or because it was trying to be, but because it just really had to be. The cooked meat was something that was chopped, mixed with different kinds of vinegar and spices, and suspended in a natural gelatin as it cooled down. Served cold, thick, and in delicate little slices, it had a punch that really helped to balance out the flavors of the pork, with a texture that will keep you stimulated throughout the whole meal. This is a dish that shows you all the different flavors the American South really has to offer. Moving on to everybody's favorite, pancakes. Depression-era pancakes were the flapjacks without the fluff. They were all about making do with what you had, and that often meant pancakes without the luxury of eggs, butter, or milk. But resourceful cooks found a way. These flapjacks were made with basic ingredients like flour, baking powder, water, and maybe a little bit of oil or fat if you had it. While they weren't the fluffy, buttery pancakes we all know and love today, they still knew how to hit the right spot. Fry them up on a hot griddle, and you'd get a crispy, golden treat that was perfect for slathering with whatever topping you could scrounge up, molasses, jam, or even just a dusting of sugar. They were flat and a bit chewy, but they did the job of filling bellies without making you pull a bank job. You could make them savory by tossing in some leftover vegetables, or keep them sweet with a drizzle of honey. They were proof that you didn't need fancy ingredients to make something tasty. Sometimes the simplest meals are the most satisfying, especially when they remind you of what's possible even when times are tough. Cinnamon roll casserole transformed individual pastries into a shareable breakfast that fed Thanksgiving crowds without the fuss. Grandmothers cut cinnamon rolls into quarters and arranged them in buttered baking dishes. A custard mixture of eggs, milk, vanilla, and cinnamon was poured over the top, soaking overnight. In the morning, the casserole baked until puffy and golden. A simple glaze of powdered sugar and milk was drizzled over the warm casserole. This breakfast solved the problem of feeding many people without standing over the stove. Families loved it because it could be assembled the night before. The smell of cinnamon and baked dough filled homes with warmth. Children fought over corner pieces with extra glaze, while adults appreciated having something sweet with their coffee. This breakfast proved that convenience and indulgence could coexist perfectly on Thanksgiving morning. Rolled oats and bacon are a really humble and delicious combination. It does two things very perfectly. It balances the comfort of a cream-heavy dish with the allure of smoky flavors. Now, that's not very hard to do, but I think when a dish makes that work, it's always one for the Notes app. The oats are something you simmer slowly in water and milk. You know, the usual preparation. You have to wait until it becomes completely porridge, though. Stir in these crisp crumbles of bacon, and suddenly the dish transforms into a wonderful savory fantasy. You get to have this decadent texture with just the tiniest bits of smoky aftertaste, and it makes for a dish that just feels like the perfect autumn or winter breakfast. Historically, though, this is a dish that you would actually find more often in the summer times, when people were really trying to stretch out their meals and scraping for protein. Especially in the early 20th century, when rationing meant that almost everyone had to think conservatively about what they were eating and how much of it they were using. The savory oats bowl couldn't ever go mainstream, but I think that suits the quiet nature of the dish. Molasses toast was the ultimate make-it-work breakfast during the Great Depression. Toast was already a cheap and filling option, but top it off with molasses, and it became a sweet, sticky treat. Molasses, a byproduct of sugar production, was cheaper than sugar and became a pantry staple for families looking to add a little sweetness to their meals. All you had to do was toast a slice of bread, or whatever bread-like product you could find, slather it with butter if you had any, and drizzle it with molasses. And it wasn't just a breakfast option. Molasses toast was also versatile enough to be a snack or dessert. The molasses gave you a burst of energy, while the toast filled you up just enough to get through the morning. It might not have been fancy, but it was comforting, affordable, and a quick fix for a sweet tooth when you didn't have much else in the kitchen. Caramelized apple and brie crepes were the elegant breakfast that made Thanksgiving morning feel sophisticated. Grandmothers made thin crepes from scratch, whisking together flour, eggs, milk, and melted butter until smooth. The batter was poured onto hot buttered pans and cooked until lightly golden. Apples were sliced and caramelized in butter with brown sugar and cinnamon until tender. Creamy brie was placed inside each crepe along with the warm apples. Then the crepes were folded into quarters. The combination of sweet apples, melted cheese, and delicate crepes was unexpectedly perfect. Families who usually ate simpler breakfasts felt fancy eating these. The crepes required skill and attention, but impressed guests tremendously. Adults loved them with coffee, while children were divided. This breakfast proved that Thanksgiving morning could be refined without being fussy, elevating the holiday with French-inspired elegance. Enough of all this savory stuff. Let's go towards something that's actually sweet. Believe it or not, people had incredible tricks and tips for that. One of those was a rice and molasses bowl, which is the kind of dish that just inspires gentle waves of nostalgia in you. It's something that's drizzled with thick, dark molasses. The molasses, which makes for a very bittersweet, smoky bite with sweet undertones, tends to seep into the grains. This actually gives them such a nice autumn-coated color that really just makes you want to set up your best sheet in a park, call a few friends, and enjoy the small things in life. Historically, though, this was nothing that was so romantic. It was a poor man's breakfast and dessert, especially in most parts of the South and the Appalachian regions. It was very common to see among working-class Northeasterns in the 18th century, and it was something that was relied on to stretch ingredients when things were running low. This is because molasses was always really cheap and bought in bulk, and if people weren't growing their rice, they were stocking up on as much as they could. Rice, molasses, and different kinds of bowls are now bygones of different times, but they were really good. Sage and onion breakfast hash brought savory Thanksgiving flavors to morning plates with crispy potatoes and aromatic herbs. Grandmothers diced potatoes into small cubes and fried them in bacon grease with sliced onions until golden brown. Fresh sage leaves were torn and scattered over the hash, their earthy flavor perfuming every bite. Sometimes sausage or bacon was added for extra protein. The hash was served topped with fried eggs, the runny yolks creating natural sauce. This breakfast was hearty and filling, perfect for people who needed substantial fuel. The sage made it taste distinctly Thanksgiving. Families loved it because it was simple to prepare but tasted special. Children would eat around the onions but devour the crispy potatoes. Adults appreciated how it used basic ingredients to create something memorable. This hash proved that breakfast could be as savory and satisfying as any dinner, bringing Thanksgiving flavors to morning. Now, parsnip hash is a sweet, savory dish that boggle your mind. Because what really does parsnip hash entail? It's a sweet and savory skillet dish that smells a lot like summer and tastes like something that just came out of a wood-fired stove. Parsnips were diced, fried, and they turned golden at the edges. The idea was to caramelize them until they were just about to be overcooked, because there's this really specific sweet spot between overcooked and just typically caramelized where the flavor gets super concentrated. The end result was a nutty, peppery, and sweet dish that was honestly to die for. If you're looking for something healthy to add to your diet, this is also a wonderful option. And historically speaking, it's always been something people ate throughout the winter to keep their health strong, their immune system locked in, and their bellies full. Some people definitely prefer things completely vegetarian, and this is a pretty amazing way to go about it. If you're looking for some inspiration for your meal plan, then there's no better or healthier dish to start out with than turnip hash. Also, if you do end up trying this, you absolutely have to share the experience in the comments. I'm low-key dying to know what turnip hash is like. Pear and almond clafoutis was the French-inspired breakfast that turned simple ingredients into something sophisticated. Grandmothers sliced ripe pears and arranged them in buttered baking dishes. A batter made from eggs, milk, flour, sugar, and almond extract was poured over the fruit. The clafoutis baked until puffed and golden, with custardy centers. Sliced almonds were scattered over the top before baking, adding crunch. The finished dish was dusted with powdered sugar while still warm. This breakfast fell somewhere between pancake and custard, with the pears providing natural sweetness. Families loved it because it looked impressive but came together quickly. The almond flavor elevated it beyond ordinary breakfast. Adults appreciated having something that felt special. Children loved the sweet pears and custardy texture. The clafoutis could be served warm or room temperature. This breakfast proved that European elegance belonged at American Thanksgiving tables, bringing sophistication to morning. Sometimes simple really does the trick, and with the Southern-style chicken biscuit that McDonald's put on their breakfast menu, they proved that old golden rule of thumb true to the core. Just a piece of slightly dry oregano-flavored chicken between two halves of a biscuit, this was a very popular add-on and basically a guaranteed order if you were getting hash browns or a whole combo meal from the breakfast menu. It was hard to hate on it because at the time it filled a niche that no one in the market was really taking up, which was a slightly more tame chicken biscuit, not a very spicy one. Plus, that commercial was pretty catchy when it used to air the time, and if McDonald's does anything right, it is the marketing. The Southern-style chicken biscuit got discontinued a while later as it fell out of popularity due to inflation. People did not see the point in paying that much for it, and we could not blame them. Pumpkin bread pudding with bourbon sauce was the decadent breakfast that blurred the line between morning meal and dessert. Grandmothers cubed day-old bread and soaked it in a custard mixture of eggs, cream, pumpkin puree, cinnamon, and nutmeg overnight. The pudding baked until puffy and golden. The bourbon sauce was made by melting butter with brown sugar and a generous splash of bourbon, creating a rich glaze. The combination was intensely flavorful, with pumpkin providing earthiness and bourbon adding warmth. This breakfast was reserved for adult gatherings or late-morning brunches. Families loved it because it used up stale bread while creating something luxurious. The bourbon was optional but traditional, giving the dish a grown-up edge. Adults would linger over second helpings, their coffee cups refilled multiple times. This breakfast represented indulgence and celebration, perfect for holidays when rules could be bent.
Eggs in a nest, also known as eggs in a frame, brought a playful twist to traditional breakfast eggs by frying them inside a hole cut from a slice of bread. This simple yet delightful dish allowed for creativity and personalization during preparation, making breakfast an engaging meal. It was particularly popular for its ease of preparation and the joy it brought to the breakfast table, allowing for variations such as different bread types or added toppings like cheese or herbs. The interactive cooking process, cutting the bread and watching the egg cook perfectly in the middle, was a key appeal, making it a favorite among families. This dish stood out for its simplicity and the fun it added to cooking. making it a go-to choice for a quick and enjoyable breakfast.
Gingerbread pancakes with cream cheese drizzle brought holiday cookie flavors to Thanksgiving morning. Grandmothers mixed pancake batter with molasses, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves, creating pancakes that were dark and spiced. The batter was cooked on buttered griddles until bubbles formed, then flipped. The cream cheese drizzle was made by whisking softened cream cheese with powdered sugar and milk until smooth. The pancakes were stacked and drizzled generously. The combination was unexpected and delicious, with warm spices playing against tangy cream cheese. These pancakes felt festive and special, like eating gingerbread cookies in more satisfying form. Children loved them because they tasted like dessert. Adults appreciated the seasonal flavors that put them in the Thanksgiving mood. The pancakes could be kept warm in the oven. This breakfast proved that holiday baking flavors belonged at breakfast just as much as dessert, bringing celebration to morning meals. The malted milk drink, a sweet and nostalgic beverage, first appeared in the late 19th century. This creamy delight is made from milk, malt powder, and sometimes ice cream, blended into a refreshing treat. The drink was invented by William Horlick, who patented malted milk powder in 1887 as a nutritious supplement for infants and invalids. It was popularized by brands like Horlicks, which marketed it as a nutritious and tasty option. Unusual flavors or variations of the malted milk drink include chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, adding to its appeal. In the early 20th century, malted milk was touted as a health tonic and was even recommended by doctors for its nutritional benefits. The drink inspired a love for creamy and sweet drinks, often enjoyed as a quick breakfast on the go. Apple cinnamon quinoa bowls were the healthy breakfast that gave Thanksgiving morning nutrition without sacrificing flavor or comfort. Grandmothers cooked quinoa in apple cider instead of water, infusing the grains with natural sweetness. Diced apples were sautéed in butter with cinnamon until tender, then spooned over the cooked quinoa. The bowls were topped with chopped pecans, maple syrup, and sometimes Greek yogurt. The result was warm, satisfying, and surprisingly filling. Families appreciated having a healthier option on a day known for indulgence. The quinoa could be made ahead and reheated, making it practical. Health-conscious relatives loved having something substantial that wasn't heavy. Children were often skeptical but would try it when they saw adults enjoying it. The combination of warm quinoa and sweet apples felt comforting. This breakfast proved that nutritious food could still taste indulgent and feel appropriate for celebrations. McDonald's is also something you usually associate with burgers, fries, and a pretty good shake just like Wendy's, but they would also try to rebrand a little with their McSkillet burrito. Originally something they launched in the November of 2007, it was a masterpiece that captivated people immediately and became one of the biggest parts of their sales, giving their breakfast menu just as much success, if not more, than anybody else's. When you think about a McSkillet, you should imagine one of those monster burritos from Chipotle. This was just as famous as those which were pretty much the king of the burrito game, but people would often begin alternating between the McSkillet or outright switching to it. We mean it really went well with some steak and roja sauce as add-ons. It is just that the McSkillet was not particularly a new concept, so when the initial hype died down, it got discontinued in 2013. Even now, there are still many online petitions to bring it back, so who knows? Caramel apple cider donuts were the sweet breakfast that captured fall flavors in portable form. Grandmothers made cake donuts with apple cider reduced until concentrated, adding intense apple flavor. The batter included cinnamon and nutmeg, creating donuts that tasted like autumn. Once fried or baked, the donuts were glazed with caramel made from butter and brown sugar. The glaze hardened slightly as it cooled. These donuts were served on platters for families to grab while rushing through morning preparations. The apple cider flavor was distinct and delicious. Children loved having donuts for breakfast, feeling like it was a special treat. Adults appreciated the homemade quality and the way the flavors fit the holiday. The donuts could be made the night before. This breakfast proved that bakery-quality treats could come from home kitchens, bringing joy and sweetness to the start of Thanksgiving without requiring hours of morning work.
fruit cocktail in heavy syrup was a beloved component of breakfast and dessert menus, particularly during the 1970s. This mix of diced peaches, pears, grapes, pineapple, and cherries, all preserved in thick syrup, was a convenient and tasty addition to many meals. Del Monte and Libby's were leading brands, heavily marketing the product's ease of use and the sweet indulgence it offered. The syrup's rich flavor enhanced the appeal, making the fruit cocktail a quick solution for a sweet serving. In a time when convenience often trumped other considerations, this product stood out for its ability to deliver a variety of fruits in one easy package. Despite shifts in consumer preferences, it remained a practical and appealing choice for those looking for quick fruit options.
Spiced chai tea scones brought the warming flavors of chai spices to Thanksgiving morning. Grandmothers mixed flour, butter, and cream with cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, and black pepper, creating dough that was flaky yet tender. The dough was shaped into rounds and cut into wedges, then brushed with cream and sprinkled with coarse sugar. The scones baked until golden brown, their tops crackled. These were served warm with butter or clotted cream. The chai spices provided warmth and complexity that felt perfect for autumn mornings. Families loved having scones because they felt special, elevating breakfast beyond ordinary fare. The spices complemented coffee and tea perfectly. Children enjoyed the sweet tops while adults appreciated the subtle spice. The scones could be made ahead and reheated quickly. This breakfast proved that simple baked goods with the right spices could transform morning meals into celebrations, bringing warmth and flavor to the start of Thanksgiving Day. Sonic kind of stood out from the rest of the crowd with their take on a burrito-based breakfast. Their breakfast burrito had plenty of sausage, tots, cheese, and some bacon to top it off. It was pretty beloved, even though Sonic did not have the same pull as some of the biggest names in the fast food industry. Now, do not get us wrong, they were popular and a good local breakfast option, but their popularity was not as widespread as, let's say, McDonald's. As time passed, newer chains like Chipotle introduced their breakfast burritos that gained more traction than Sonic could generate. This meant a downfall in popularity for a breakfast burrito that once was loved by every person that visited Sonic. This led to the burrito being discontinued sometime at the start of the 2000s. Spinach and mushroom scramble turned a classic egg breakfast into a vibrant, vegetable-filled dish that matched the decade's growing interest in nutritious eating. Fresh spinach leaves were quickly wilted in a hot skillet, earthy mushrooms were sautéed until golden, and then beaten eggs were poured in to create a tender scramble flecked with greens. This hearty combination delivered iron, protein, and a savory depth of flavor that felt both rustic and sophisticated. Families appreciated that it required only a few simple ingredients while offering enough substance to keep everyone energized through school or work. Many homemakers added a small sprinkle of nutmeg or grated cheese to enhance the natural flavors, while health writers encouraged using olive oil instead of butter for a lighter touch. Served with a slice of whole grain toast or fresh fruit, the spinach and mushroom scramble quickly became a breakfast favorite for those who wanted something more exciting than plain eggs, but less indulgent than a rich omelet. It perfectly showcased how the 1960s embraced vegetables as stars of the morning table. Which budget meal from the 1970s do you wish would make a comeback? Drop your memories in the comments below, hit that like button if this took you back, and subscribe so you never miss another blast from the past.